Hello everyone, this is the HappyAnimaidCafeManager here with another walkthrough episode for the game Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Watch how I ended up in the last episode. I am at a loss. Okay, so verify at the time that the detective had used his card. But it's not identified as Bruce Goodman. But they still think it is the same guy because the only way anyone can get into the evidence room, that particular evidence room, is if you have an ID card in. This ID card was used. In around this around 5/4/14, the Bruce Goodman's ID card was used, and then Officer Meekins followed later. Found in the prosecutor's office. Now it really is hard to find which evidence to point out the contradiction. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins. I'm not good at waiting, sir. I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding to the victim's ID card. A lost item report. It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order! Order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order! 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 So does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. on the day of the crime, the man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also a fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instant of the murder. Huh? That is... Well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't good. Well. It seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So, the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office. The murderer, being Miss Lana Skye, is the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, you have to do something, or else Lana... What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Raise an objection? You gotta think about, why do I want to raise an objection? I've never been this far. You know, I haven't done anything ever since while I was off camera for this game. No, I was busy uploading a video for the game Dawn Hack Part 4 Quarantine. And updating a few of the information on the images that I've taken for the Lunar Festival on DeviantArt, so I don't know what to do here. Let's see, why do I want to object? I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I better pace myself. If I rush ahead, I might run right into another trap. But Mr. Wright, if you don't do anything, it seems the defense is out of ammunition. The surrender flag has been raised. Your Honor, may we have your ruling? Don't give up, Mr. Wright. Get up and fight. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? The cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. That the security video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that that is unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. If the court were to examine this further, other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared? I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, you mean? Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, Whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Jake Marshall. Patrolman investigating the incident at the prosecutor's office. Thinks he's a cowboy. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? I can't let him know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel like we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agreed to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court in recess. February 24th, 11:32 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Oh, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Make you a detective run around while on duty. And on top of it, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, detective. You better be, pal. Hey! 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 I didn't see you there, Miss Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh! You mean this, right? My apologies, detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me some SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Miss Sky, was a witness? SL9 incident file. Type reports received from Lana Sky. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I've brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me. Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? Oh no. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killing. The Joe Dark? No, Lana! That's over with, no! Emma, wait, she ran away. You know what? I just remembered, I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Jake Marshall, Angel Star, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth, not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. I better take a good look at this file. Man, the trial sure is taking long. February 24th, 12:14 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Scott. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization, occasionally helping the elderly across intersections when needed. Oh, I know, you're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you could hear the howling wind calling out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner, what do you mean? A desperado, soulless, boundless as the desert sand. No paper could sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In English. My job was to keep a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at the street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even I cowpoke like you knows about those. Well, yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks inside the evidence room? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's still still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them. Videos of nothing that are useful when the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? And you heard a word I said, partner. I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know let rules get in this way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't step foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? Besides, the security room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. There's actually 3. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner. I ain't got good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what what you were doing when this crime took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches could beat that parlor's Vongole Sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope that this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That right, partner, or as you call evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I better up the ante. Anyways, I should have just taken a look at the SL9 incident file. Files for the Dark killing solved 2 years ago. Press A button for details. Incident number SL9. Closed. Criminal Joe Dark. Crime serial murder. Sentence death. Victims Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Neil Marshall. Okay, there's Jake Marshall, but what does Neil Marshall have to do with this? So, could there be a connection? Trial data, head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witness Lana Skye, Emma Skye, investigation task force, executive investigator Damon Gass, Lana Skye, head investigators Bruce Goodman, investigators Jake Marshall, and Angel Starr. Right, there was nothing hanging off that the locker at the far left. That's near the door. There's nothing there, hanging there. Evidence locker. So you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible. Detective Gumtree said something like that too. Doesn't seem like. Let's see. It was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. Around Alabama, time I hit the trail. Found on the bloody handprint left in the evidence room. The print had been white. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene, or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however. A luminal test clearly revealed it. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulder. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. I find that hard to believe. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or then you know the murderer was wearing gloves. See? That had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid. Yeah, I went over my limit this time, so thanks for watching. Until next time, to be continued, baby.